This is Embodied Success, the podcast, where we explore topics that help to balance your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. With these four elements interacting in harmony, we can experience joy in both our career and personal lives. This is Embodied Success. Hello and welcome to Embodied Success, the podcast. This is your host, Sarah Ann Ferguson, somatic practitioner and quantum living mentor. And today we have an exciting episode planned for you. Joining us from Melbourne, Australia, we have a very special guest. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Anna Anderson. Anna is a quantum living coach and teacher, Reiki master, spiritual guide, Theta meditation teacher, writer, and podcaster. Born with a strong connection to the spiritual world, with unstoppable curiosity since her early childhood, Anna has made it her life's quest to find out how life really works. Anna is the founder of Quantum Living, a holistic, personal transformation and spiritual healing practice at the intersection of science and spirituality, helping people find self-empowerment and self-mastery and connect with their higher self. Anna works with clients online from all over the world in her Quantum Living personal transformation programs. She also produces powerful guided meditations and is producer and host of the popular Quantum Living podcast. I discovered Anna through her podcast and was absolutely mind blown by her topics and her guests. If the quantum realm excites you, then you must check Anna out. So without further ado, welcome Anna Anderson.
Hello, Sarah. Greetings from Australia to you and all your listeners, wherever they are across the world and the universe. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I have some big questions for you today. So we are living in the quantum era, which began in the early 20th century with the development of quantum mechanics. And over time, the philosophical and practical implications of quantum mechanics have extended beyond physics, influencing various fields such as technology, medicine, and spirituality. The quantum era emphasizes the interconnectedness of everything, the power of consciousness, and the potential to harness both known and hidden cognitive abilities to enrich our experience and transform our reality. As the founder of Quantum Living, can you tell us what exactly is quantum living and what led you to this revolutionary work?
Certainly. I've had a strong connection with the spirit since birth. Having vivid memories of my past lives, I pretty quickly realized that there is much more to life than what we perceive through our five senses. Death, as the end of life, didn't make sense to me, and I intuitively knew that we are much more powerful than we realize, and so pain and suffering and all bad experiences didn't make sense to me. I knew that there was a better way to live, some sort of secret that must be uncovered. And so, very early on, I embarked on a mission to find out how life really works. I was drawn to personal and spiritual development, which became my passion since childhood. Over the years, I walked on fire, explored energy healing and alternative therapies, practiced Buddhism, learned meditation, spirit channeling, past life regression, and also explored hypnosis, psychology, neurolinguistic programming, and finally discovered, quote unquote, quantum physics. I was looking for answers, or at least for some direction, which I found in the works of many great teachers and thought leaders, such as Tony Robbins, Greg Braden, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Napoleon Hill, Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Michael Newton, and many, many others, including the channeled material Seth Speaks, channeled by Jane Roberts, the Lazarus material, channeled by Jack Purcell, and Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka. In the early 2000s, I completed a certified life coaching training with NLP and started my life coaching practice, as I wanted to help people improve their lives with what I have learned. Then, at some point, I came across quantum physics and saw that it bridges science and spirituality, which deeply resonated with me. I realized that this intersection is a sacred space, possibly the secret to how life works, a unique space, a powerful recipe for the conscious and empowered living. In 2010, I believe, I attended a 3-day workshop with Dr. Joe Dispenza here in Australia, bought his books and read them, and never looked back. I found a direction and focus for my work. I coined the term quantum living, which I adopted as my brand and trademark, and have been teaching its principles that I have further developed and built upon ever since. Few years later, I started writing and recording guided meditations, then started my podcast and completed a Reiki master training and attunement. So, what is quantum living? And I'm sure we'll be talking more about it throughout this conversation, but in essence, it is a way of living consciously rather than on automatic, with at least a basic understanding of how life works and its governing laws. The laws of quantum physics, which is science, and the laws of the universe, which is spirituality. And I can talk about these laws again a bit later. The key benefits of quantum living is self-empowerment, freedom, and a heightened awareness, both of oneself and the world around us, with its many dimensions, frequencies, and realities.
Thank you, Anna. So, ancient spiritual teachings existed long before the quantum era, but they are connected through their shared understanding of the fundamental nature of reality. Many spiritual traditions, such as those found in Buddhism, Hinduism, and indigenous wisdom, speak of interconnectedness, the power of the mind, and the illusion of separation. And quantum physics, with its principles of entanglement, wave particle duality, and the observer effect, echo these insights by revealing a universe where everything is interconnected and consciousness plays a crucial role in shaping reality. This suggests that ancient spiritual wisdom and modern quantum theory are two sides of the same coin. They both offer profound insights into the true nature of existence. So, what I'd like to ask you is, what role do you suggest ancient spiritual teachings play in the concept of quantum living?
Wow, great question. I love this question, Sarah. Well, Spirituality is an integral part of quantum living, as I mentioned earlier. The spiritual wisdom we have inherited through various ancient texts and teachings was the starting point for our inquiry into the nature of reality. So, this knowledge is the foundation, and we can talk, of course, about the universal laws, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of oneness, the law of vibration, and many, many others, which we initially accepted as true and given, almost like religious dogmas, as they must have come from the spirit. When quantum physics was discovered by Niels Bohr and Max Planck in 1925, over the years it has validated one by one the spiritual concepts found in those ancient teachings. That yes, everything is energy, and yes, energy carries information that can be received by others. And yes, everything is connected at the energy level, etc. Once you can scientifically validate a spiritual concept, it is no longer a New Age fluff, but a fact. So, those ancient texts and spiritual teachings were, and still are, fundamental to the evolution of quantum living that draws on both science and spirituality. But there is a new phase of this, evolution, which is absolutely necessary. In order for us to expand this knowledge, we had to find another source, contemporary source, that we could draw on and continue to learn, and we did. This other source is information we receive directly from the spirit through channeling, intuition, advice from our spirit guides and teachers, mediumship, and information we tapped into directly into the quantum field with our psychic senses. So, quantum living is a constantly evolving philosophy, lifestyle, and body of knowledge, keeping up with the new discoveries and insights flowing from quantum physics and the spirit.
Yes, I feel like my journey recently has involved a lot of study and to really drop in to be able to listen to these senses, I find can be a challenge when I'm in this mode of just absorbing information. So how can one really get sort of into that mode where they can be aware of what's coming in for them? How can they listen?
Well, another great question. And the answer is manifold. But it's nothing complex. It's not rocket science. Okay. There is a process that starts with an intent and then action that will facilitate this process, which is my first and foremost recommended thing, meditation.
Yes.
And I'd like to speak more about meditation a bit later on, but definitely meditation, because it encourages communication from other dimensions through the veil that we all talk about, the veil between the dimensions. And so the intent, then facilitating the process, and practice. The more we practice, the more we are gaining and the more the process becomes easier and easier.
Yes. Thank you, Anna. That involves a level of trust.
Trust in the process, but also trust in yourself.
Yes.
And um, don't be discouraged. If it doesn't happen overnight, it may take days, maybe weeks, maybe a couple of months, depending on how open you are to the process and how open and how often you can practice it. And in fact, your point about trust is interesting because it came up recently in one of my coaching programs with a client when we talk about a similar issue and the lack of trust in her own ability, but also a fear of the unknown are big elements and challenges, as you said, which can be overcome and need to be overcome because it's like putting a barrier, okay, which needs to be removed. So the process needs to start from within. We need to want to do it, we need to accept it, open up our senses consciously and through practice of meditation and tuning in, sensing your energy field, sensing energy coming from other people and places. And I'm sure you would agree that you feel differently when you go to the beach with a big ocean crashing on the shore to where you go to the forest or to the mountains, to a quiet lake. Okay, so once we learn to tune in to the energy coming to us from our immediate environment, and then beyond that immediate environment from other dimensions, that's how we start to connect with those other dimensions and the information that is coming from it.
Yes. Thank you, Anna. That's very helpful. So
Welcome.
you have interviewed many very interesting and intelligent people on your podcast, Quantum Living. And I love your interviews with Cynthia Sue Larson, who's the author of the book Quantum Jumps. Your conversation really inspired me to exercise some of these ways to quantum jump that she spoke about. And so this is an example of hidden cognitive and spiritual powers that can be harnessed through quantum living. So can you tell us about some of your experiences with quantum jumping and perhaps illuminate some other examples of hidden cognitive or spiritual powers that you have experience with and that we can perhaps explore ourselves?
Wow, thank you. I love this question. You're asking me such great questions. I've had many strange and unexplainable experiences in my life, which I couldn't even label as quantum jumps at the time, until I came across this term and understood what it means some years later. Before I share a couple of such examples, I'd like to talk a bit about the nature of quantum jumps in general, for the benefit of your listeners who may not be familiar with this phenomenon, just to set the context to what I'll be talking about. A quantum jump refers to a sudden shift of our awareness or focused consciousness to another parallel reality, where one or more elements we are familiar with are either changed or don't exist, with no rational explanation. Objects appear and disappear, our environment is changed for no reason, Some historical facts in our recollection are completely different, etc. We can experience quantum jumps at our own individual level and also at a collective level. And one of the best known examples of a collective quantum jump is the phenomenon called the Mandela effect, where large numbers of people clearly remember and clearly recall that Nelson Mandela died in prison, while we know that he didn't die and after his release from prison he became president of South Africa. Secondly, when reviewing my own quantum jump experiences, I have made two interesting observations which I'd like to share. One, that at that time, I literally felt an energy shift or some difference in the energy around me. It usually felt cooler and less dense. I think I can describe it this way, just for a few seconds. And also that in most instances, there was always a slim margin of possibility, even as a remote likelihood with astronomical odds, of a rational explanation. In other words, there was never a concrete proof or evidence of an unexplained phenomenon that no one could refute, apart from one particular experience I will share with you in a moment. And for some reason, there is usually a question mark whether an unusual experience was a quantum jump or whether it can be somehow explained. So now I'd like to share with you and your audience a couple of my quantum jump experiences. And by the way, in my memory, my own memory, Nelson Mandela did die in prison. So I know I'm living on a different timeline. So I'll share three very brief experiences. And interestingly, all three happened in the last few months. About 3 months ago, I had an ultrasound done of my abdomen. And when the film was ready, I was given access to it on the portal of the radiology. I reviewed it and I saw there was one particular image out of 80 plus images that caught my attention because it was showing something abnormal on my liver. So that thing was circled and there was some data about its size, etc. It was just that one image. There was nothing else of concern on all other images. So when a few days later I saw my doctor and we both wanted to view that film, that image was gone, was completely gone. And more interestingly, there was nothing about it in the report that was sent to my doctor. I knew what I saw. I knew it was there. I noted it down. I didn't take a screenshot, which probably I should have, and now I regret that I didn't, but the image was gone. I called the radiology. I said, why did you remove one image? Why did you? And they absolutely claimed that no one touched my ultrasound film. I mean, why would they? There was no reason. They never do this. They can't. So that was one definite quantum jump for me. But then again, there is a slight, slim chance that there could be some maybe technical explanation for it. Second example, and that this is about my local health food store that I used to go to. In the latest phases of COVID, a lot of businesses, small businesses and stores were shutting down here in Australia because the business wasn't good. And one day I called that store to find out. I was looking for some product, and no one answered the phone. So I called their sister store in the same chain, and I asked about them. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, they closed down because the business wasn't good. They just closed down." I asked, "Are they going to reopen?" "No, they just shut down for good." Okay, well, fast forward to about 3 months ago. I was looking again for a product in a health food store, and I forgot that this one was closed, and I called them because I still have the number, and someone answered, and they said, "Yes, we've got the product." So I drove over there. I bought what I wanted, and then I say, and by the way, the gentleman that I saw was someone new I've never seen before. And I said to him, "Well, I'm really glad that you reopened after COVID." And he looked at me and said, "We never closed. We never closed down." I said, "Well, I was trying to call you and there was no answer. I called your sister's store and they said that you closed down." He said, "I don't know who you called or who told you. We've never closed down. Actually, we were very busy." Okay. I left it at that. Now, the third experience definitely is in the category of 100% irrefutable quantum jump or a miracle or whatever you want to call it. And that happened about 2 months ago. I was looking to buy a new garlic press. And I saw online there was a new style which I've never seen before, which is sort of like a saddle. I don't know whether you have it in New Zealand. So it's all made of metal. You put your garlic on the cutting board and you press it, and then the minced garlic comes on the top, through the top. Anyway, it's great little gadget, but it's a one piece appliance or gadget. So I called my local store, like kitchen, selling kitchen appliances and things. And I said, "Yes, we have it. We have just the last one." So, okay, I will come very soon to buy it. I went there. I opened it. It was in a small cellophane bag, which was sitting in a small carton box. I opened the box, took it out from the bag, examined it. Yeah, that's fine. That's exactly what I want. Put it back into the bag and into the cardboard box. And then I said to the store assistant, "I would like to do a quick browse through your store because I haven't been here for quite a while." So I put it on the counter and I kept browsing for a few minutes, about 5 minutes or so. Then I came back to the counter, paid for it, took the box, went home. I got home, because I was really excited about it. I wanted to test it quickly. I put my shopping bag, took out the box out, opened the box, opened the cello bag, took out the garlic press from it. It was soaking wet. In water, just pure water. So my brain froze because there was not a droplet of water on the outside of the cellophane bag. The carton box was absolutely dry. The water was only inside the bag, and there was so much water, it's as if you rinsed it under the tap and you didn't even shake it off, and you put it back with so much water back into the cello bag. So there is absolutely no explanation how so much water, well, water to begin with, and so much water could have got into inside the cellophane bag with not a single droplet of water outside. So guess what? I called the store. And I said, "Why is my garlic press wet? What do you mean it's wet? Well, so I described. I said, I saw there was, while I was browsing, there was a customer in your store. Did she come up to the counter? Did she swap my garlic press? Did she, I would just, my brain was going crazy, like really irrational. I was looking for an explanation, for a rational explanation, even ridiculous. Why would anyone just replace or wanted to wash my brand new garlic? But my brain was desperately looking for a rational explanation, and there was none. Zero. The store assistant said, well, no one has touched this. It was sitting all the time on the counter. She probably thought that I was crazy or smoking something. She said, well, if you want to return it, please bring it back. I'll give you the money back. I said, no, I want to keep it. It's just full of water. So, I just had to put this experience, to put it on the shelf with the label Quantum Jump, 100% quantum jump, unexplainable. But then I asked myself a question. Why? Because everything happens for a reason. So why did the universe give me this experience for which there is no logical explanation? And the answer was, well, to show you that this is possible, that this is what happens, to bring this to your attention, and to amuse you. If you are in the corner with nowhere to go, what do? You have to agree, yes, that's the only explanation. And back to your earlier point, if people would like to learn more about quantum jumps, I would encourage them to listen to my podcast episode with Cynthia, Decoding the Mandela Effect. I've actually had 3 interviews with Cynthia, and the most recent one is Decoding the Mandela Effect, where we discuss this whole topic in detail. And back to your question, I don't consider quantum jumps as resulting from our hidden cognitive or spiritual powers. However, it does appear that people who are spiritually aware, sensitive to energy, and have their 6th sense open, seem to have many more quantum jumps and similar experiences. And these abilities can be developed. Just like every person with the vocal cords can sing, but some develop their singing to mastery, while others are just happy to sing in a shower. And I'm in that second category.
Yes, well, when I feel as if I'd like to quantum jump, I go on a walk. If I'm in a certain emotional state where maybe I don't feel that great and I'd like a shift, after listening to one of the episodes with you and Cynthia and learning about portals, I go down to the beach and I go on a walk and I come back and there's this alleyway that I walk down and I see that as my portal, and I become very, very intentional about shifting my emotional state so that when I come out of the other side of that portal, that alleyway, I am in a different reality. And because I'm so intentional about shifting my emotional state, I am then able to, once I've gone through there, I'm able to create a different reality for myself because my vibration is a bit higher and yeah, I feel like I've shifted timelines just from that.
Wow, excellent. Yes, excellent. And a portal of some sort, as Cynthia was explaining, it's just a technique, but it helps with focusing on our intention. I like walking across a bridge. I see a bridge as a portal. Even, sometimes in parks, you will see like a little bridge just for fun.
Yes.
So whenever I see a little bridge, I intentionally want to come over and walk across the bridge. And when I do walk across this little bridge, I am focused on my intention, what I would like to change in my life. So a portal is just a tool, if you like, helping us to focus our intention. A great example. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I even turn back and I wave goodbye to
Okay.
that version of myself. Like, okay, Sarah.
Well, and it works.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so having a quantum perspective is relatively new to me. Just over a year and a half ago, after doing some somatic therapy, I experienced what people call a spiritual awakening, and my whole perspective on life changed after that. And I feel that I began quantum living. So can you tell us how understanding the nature of reality from a quantum perspective may change our life experience?
Absolutely. Another great question. I'd like to highlight an interesting point here. You have referred a few times already to a quantum perspective, quote unquote. And clearly you didn't mean just quantum physics. And this term is being increasingly used to describe what I have coined as quantum living, which is living at the intersection of science and spirituality. If you draw two circles and call one quantum science and the other one spirituality, and then you move them towards each other until they intersect, that space containing both circles is an alchemy, merging and blending them together. It's neither one nor the other, it is something else, a new energy containing both. It is a mysterious dimension ruled by synchronicity, the unexpected, and the paradox, where intention creates reality, and the answers we find raise more questions, as we all know. It is about discovering how powerful we are and reclaiming this power as our birthright. A key characteristic of this space is oneness. You can't separate one element from the other, just like you can't separate the two sides of the coin. I mentioned earlier the laws of quantum physics, which is science, and the laws of the universe, which are spiritual laws. So let's have a quick look at them. The basic key laws of quantum mechanics pertaining to this conversation are everything is energy. All energy carries information. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change form, which is the frequency of its vibration and the information it carries. Consciousness is non-local. An observer affects what they are observing. In terms of spiritual or universal laws, some teachings quote 12 and even up to 20 laws, and I guess you can come up even with a higher number. And there are different names used in different interpretations. The key universal laws I consider as essential to understand and embrace are the law of divine oneness. The one is the all and the all are one, which says basically that everything is connected. Okay? Confirming the quantum physics law. Everything is here and now. All is vibration. The law of cause and effect, which is effectively the law of karma. As you sow, so you shall reap. And the law of attraction, also called the law of resonance, as within, so without, like attracts like, vibrationally speaking, which creates resonance, amplifying the connection. Now, spot the similarities. The two sides of the coin talk about the nature of the coin in slightly different ways, yet confirming the unchanged and unchangeable nature of the coin. And to bring it home and answer your question, how we can use this knowledge to improve our lives and what difference can it make? All we need to do is to connect the dots. For example, when you understand that your thoughts and emotions, as well as words, are energy projecting into the quantum field, and very powerful energy at that, able to manifest things in your reality and affect other people, animals, and plants, you will be much more aware of what you think and say and of your emotional states, and much more careful in how you use them. When you understand that consciousness is non-local, you can understand how we can receive information through our sixth sense. And so you can work to develop your psychic abilities and strengthen your intuition for the benefit of yourself and possibly to benefit others. When you understand that what you focus on expands in your life, you will want to stay focused on abundance rather than lack, and generally speaking, on the positive rather than the negative as often as possible. So these are just few examples, and in fact, this question by itself can be a whole episode. It is so broad. I'm in fact developing a quantum living training program that will contain all this information and much more.
Oh.
And to answer the second part of your question, for me, this was a process germinating since birth. And it's hard for me to explain because I intuitively knew since my early childhood that something is going on behind the scenes that we can't see. When I had vivid memories of my past lives as a child and was reborn in the same country with the full memory of the language, and I could read as soon as I was able to speak without ever being taught, which to me was perfectly normal. And I couldn't understand why other children couldn't read until they were taught.
Wow.
I'd say I always lived in the quantum space or quantum living space. I just didn't have the terms and labels to describe it.
Wow. Thank you for that, Anna. It's that would mean that you have had a very interesting life, having always known that since being a child. For me, I feel like I've been asleep most of my life because I this hasn't been my perspective. And it's just so it's so fresh, but now that it's a part of my life, I can't believe that I could see life in any other way. But it's like a switch got turned on, and I'm 38 years old. It's a long time.
You see, every person's journey is different. Some people are born with certain skills and abilities and talents and understanding and knowledge. Others develop them over the years or it happened instantly as a spiritual awakening, as you said, as if you flick a switch. So everyone's story and journey is different, and there is no one better than the other. It's just different. So um, it's beautiful that you were able to experience it, this awakening. And what is more important is that you are seeking to understand more about it. So it's not like you had an awakening. You said, "Oh well, okay, that's great. Now I can see this, and I can sense this." But you are, even intellectually, you are seeking to understand why things work the way they do. So it's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, well, it's what drove me towards somatic experiencing and learning about somatics and becoming a somatic practitioner, because I thought if processing and releasing and integrating all this energy through this kind of mind-body connection was able to lift the veil for me, perhaps I can help others that maybe need the extra help having that veil lifted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So there are several factors that have collectively driven the evolution of human consciousness. These are technological advancements, scientific discoveries, globalization, environmental and social changes, mindfulness and meditation, psychedelic research, and holistic health, among others. And with this acceleration and rapid evolution of human consciousness, how do you foresee the principles of quantum living evolving in the next decade? And what impact might this have on society as a whole?
Wow, I love this question as it calls for intuitive speculation. So here is my vision. Everything is coming together, leading to a singularity. Both science and spirituality point to a singularity or theory of everything, which is the holy grail of every seeker of truth. All is energy and everything is one here and now. And from this point on, pun intended, we can create anything and do anything. We are being introduced to this strange new reality very slowly, with baby steps. First, the telegram and then radio have taught us that we can communicate with each other over large distances. That's a preschool program on telepathy. The internet has further built on this concept, taking us to school and also teaching us that we can pull information out of thin air, which is the quantum field, on demand. AI, or artificial intelligence, is the next step, taking us to university, teaching us that intelligence, memory, the power of analytical mind, and creativity are the qualities not confined to human beings or human brain. So, science through technology is teaching us about how things work beyond the physical dimension we call matter, with the finer and more subtle energies. And our insights from the spirit are teaching us how to improve our life on the physical plane, including inventions, artistic creations, medicine and healing, etc. Now, with all the good stuff, there are also hard lessons. The danger of technology getting out of control, which is a postgraduate practicum on how to maintain the right balance between our heart and mind, spirituality and the ego, which is about wealth, pleasure, and convenience. The growth of spiritual awareness and practices, natural healing, and holistic health are the counterbalance for the soul. I feel that the principles of quantum living will expand significantly over the next decade, with many new insights and information downloads from the spirit and scientific discoveries. I feel that we'll embrace telepathic communication and will be using our intuitive guidance and psychic abilities on a daily basis. I mean, we can already see many children being born with those abilities and with many amazing, simply genius talents and skills. Learning will be completely transformed. The two key qualities of our lives that will be significantly enriched, I believe, are empowerment and freedom.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anna. That's a very positive outlook for the future, and I agree with you on that. So thank you. And
You're welcome.
I always love to I always love to give our listeners actionable steps or tips that they can apply to their own lives after listening. So, can you tell us how we can begin to tap into our inner quantum potential and to create meaningful changes in our lives?
Absolutely. I have spoken to this earlier across our conversation, but I'm happy to recap the key points as 5 easy, basic, actionable steps for your listeners. 1. Learn and learn and embrace the principles of quantum living. It's much easier to adopt something new when we understand how it works and why it is important. 2. Spend some quiet time in meditation daily. This is the time when you connect with your higher self and the spirit and listen to what they have to say. 3. Strengthen the connection with your intuition, which is your higher guidance on everything and anything that you need to know or what will help you. And how to do it? Actively ask for help. And when you receive an inkling, an insight, some information, a gut feeling, act on it and then say thank you. You can start by asking for a parking spot in a busy car park and follow the guidance to it. 4. Practice self-awareness and self-observation. Several times throughout the day, stop whatever you are doing and check in with yourself. What am I feeling right now? How am I feeling? Am I joyful, happy, sad, frustrated, angry? Why? What am I thinking about? And you might want to keep a journal of your states on the phone or your computer or just in a notebook. And importantly, always ask why. Find the cause of your joy or your frustration. And 5, breathe through your heart for a few minutes at a time, as often as you wish. Simply focus on your heart chakra and imagine the airflow going in and out through the center. This simple process creates coherence between your heart and your brain and calms down your nervous system. If you are starting or going to start this practice from scratch, do it for 21 days straight and then take stock of the results. And you'll be amazed what you will have learned and achieved.
Thank you, Anna. Those are great actionable steps. And you have some guided meditation on your podcast channel too that could help with that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah. So on that topic, you host the Quantum Living podcast and offer personal sessions and mentoring as well as guided meditation audios. Could you tell us about your offerings and share what it's like to work with you and why people would seek you out for coaching, and also how our listeners can contact and connect with you?
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity. I currently offer a quantum shift personal transformation program in two versions, as a single one off session and as a flexible mentoring program. Quantum Shift is based on my unique blended quantum coaching methodology that has proven to be very successful over the past several years. There is a lot of information about it, including client testimonials on my website. So if anyone is interested, I invite them to visit my website at quantumliving.com.au. Both programs are delivered online, so the location doesn't matter, and I've had clients from various countries across the world. And hopefully, one day, I'll have some clients from other planets in the universe. That's my wish.
Yes.
Now, what it is like to work with me and why people would want to seek me out? That's a great question. I think the best illustration are my clients' testimonials, and there are about 25 of them posted on my website, and each one is genuine, I guarantee. Other than that, I can say that my programs are the fruit of over 20 years of research and practice in this field, which I continually update. My programs are also unique in terms of the content and methodology. They are customized for each client. They draw on quantum science, NLP, psychology, esoteric knowledge, and spirituality. They include live guided meditations and also psychic insights I received from the spirit for the client. I am not only a quantum coach and mentor, but also a teacher and spiritual guide. So there is always an educational and channel components. And the most and interesting feedback I receive from my clients is that they feel empowered and that they didn't really notice where, how, or when their transformation has occurred. They just know that it did as they feel, think, and behave differently after working with me. I've been working with some clients for over 2 years off and on, so I guess this is also a testament and speaks to the quality and effectiveness of my programs as people come back to me. We were speaking about meditation. I produce powerful guided meditations both in theta and alpha, which are the brain frequencies I take the listener down to during meditation. They are available for purchase on my website, and you can find more information about meditation in general, and there are some free resources about it as well. And one of my meditation is actually an instructional theta meditation, guided theta meditation, during which I teach the process of getting down to the theta state or slowing down your brain frequency to get to the theta state, which is the optimal state for deep meditation. And people can download, it's a free resource, a diagram showing the correlation of the various brain frequencies to the meditative state. So it shows why alpha and Theta frequencies are the best ones for meditation. So all that is available on my website, which is quantumliving.com.au. And of course, I'd love to invite your listeners to check out my Quantum Living podcast, through which we got connected. It's a mix of guest interviews and solo episodes, a deep dive into the nature of reality, consciousness, and the cosmos, with practical tips on how we can tap into our unlimited potential as a human being and a soul. I would encourage your listeners to visit my main podcast website at quantumlivingpodcast.com, where they will find the full show notes and with links, guest info, and reviews, and can browse and listen to all the episodes across the 8 categories and 5 seasons. The podcast is now in season 6, however, season 1 is no longer available. And the best way to contact me is via my website at quantumliving.com.au. People can also follow me on Instagram and my YouTube channel. And my handle for both sites is quantumliving88. So Quantum Living, numeric 8888. And they can also subscribe to my Quantum Talk blog on Substack.
Thank you, Anna. I personally have experienced transformations just from listening to your podcast. So I can only imagine the kind of transformations one would have getting to be able to work with you. So I will put all of this information in the show notes so our listeners can go straight there to connect with you. And I might have to get a list, Anna's recommended reading list from you as well, because I think you've got some real good ones there.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coming on to Embodied Success, the podcast, to share your wisdom with us all. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I look forward to having you back in the future to explore more topics on quantum living. And before we go, are there any final thoughts or ideas that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. And thank you, Sarah, for having me on your show. This is an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate your time and opening your beautiful podcast to your listeners with my interview. Thank you. Yes, I have a final thought I'd like to share. There are 2 ways in which we can live our life, passively or actively. When we live passively, we take whatever comes along, do the best we can, don't ask many questions, don't seek to understand the world around us. And that's fine if that's all we want out of life. But we can also live actively and participate in the unfolding of our destiny, wanting to understand why things are the way they are. Ask questions whether they can be changed and how to improve our life experience. So I would like to invite everyone listening to this podcast. Be an active participant in creating your reality and be a seeker of truth, as this will enrich your life and raise your personal frequency, expanding your awareness that will contribute one person at a time to the ascension of the collective consciousness of humanity and our beautiful planet. Thank you, Sarah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anna. You are a deep fountain of wisdom. And I hope that you have found this episode helpful or inspiring in some way. As always, if you want to chat about the episode, you can send me a direct message on Instagram or TikTok, or send me an email. I'll drop that info in the show notes as well. So thank you for listening, And thank you so, so much, Anna Anderson. Thank you.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next episode.